Oh, I don't mean to interrupt your beverage consumption there. Well, we're inside again. We were outside. Now we're inside because it's Monday and it's early evening. So what else would you expect but thunderstorms moving through the area? Yes.
But it's still larger than
It
life.
is.
This is the thing. If you're thinking about planting, Saturday, Sunday, good time to plant because we can almost guarantee rain every Monday.
Correct.
Thank you, K-Rob. It is larger than live here at House Gamble. We are inside the Thunderdome. Man, oh man, is it a packed show tonight, Fred. We got a lot going on, not the least of which an old buddy of yours is going to show us his balls later. So we'll get to that.
Hang on.
Toward the end of the show.
Foul balls that he collected.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I wasn't quite sure. He just said, hey, show Fred my balls. He'll recognize
I don't
them.
want to see any man's balls, just for the record. I'll just leave it at that,
well,
shall we?
We made mention of the fact that a lot of times when we can, we're outside. That's where we would prefer to be, even if it is a little bit hot. That's our outdoor office. It's been rained out. We're here in the Thunderdome, the indoor office. We have many, many office spaces, and we continue to add to them, not the least of which is our friends from Fueled Collective, who we worked out a little deal with. We're going to be actually gathering there.
We are going to be gathering. A little brainstorming session, and that can mean problems for you folks.
Yeah, so in the Rookwood Commons area on Wednesday about 11-ish, if you see
clear.
A mushroom cloud, you'll realize that we've been brainstorming. Now, we have some fancy graphics.
We do.
And I've been working with Eagle on some subtle ways to cue for him to run those. Last week
so we do that now?
Last week we did this. I think this week it's much more subtle. We came up with this. Go, run the graphics.
One thing for sure, if you're watching this program on Mondays at 7, you know it is live. Now, we do archive it. You can watch it later, bits and pieces. You can, don't forget, make sure I get this right now. We have our own, I've already forgotten.
YouTube.
No, I know YouTube, but you subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Yes.
We have a, what is it?
Custom.
Couldn't think of that word, custom. Customized URL.
Yes, we do.
There we go.
We earned our own URL thanks to those of you who did subscribe. It don't cost nothing, so tell all your friends. It's the best. It's the I have the least expensive subscription out there. Also, remember, like and share. And ultimately, the more opportunity that we have to bring people in to be part of the show, the more opportunity we have, which is really what we want to do, is take the show out on the road and get out and invite you to come out and be a part of it once we're allowed to do, that sort of thing.
In 2022.
Yeah.
And now don't forget, though, the month of August, we normally are on Thursday nights, 9 to midnight, the reality check on 700 WLW. But because of Reds baseball, assuming it isn't rained out again. Which it's under a rain delay this evening, but we're off the month of August. So we are planning some special guests. You'll want to stay tuned to our Facebook page, some of our other digital platforms. Andy Furman, if you go, Andy Furman, I remember that
The
name.
Furball!
You are correct. The Furball will be joining us. Catherine Nero, who's carved out quite a she does all kinds
solo
of things
niche.
now, right?
Yeah, she is.
After getting an unjustified Kabuli in the mornings. We're working on Tom Browning, Mr. Perfect. We got some other thoughts with Josh Sneed, Bronson Arroyo. We haven't talked to them yet, but we would like to get them on as guests.
So warn them ahead
Mike
of time.
Dardis, Lance McAllister. We may have to tape Lance because he's usually on now.
He has a real job and he does work and stuff
Unlike
like
us.
that. Now we have speaking of work, tonight's show is almost going to feel like work with all the different things that we have to cover.
Right.
I was going down the list.
So we have to go quickly.
I mean, we got a lot to get to. The future Fidge update, which is huge for those who don't know who Fidge is. We'll bring you up to speed on that and how the griping has now officially begun about what is supposed to be a joyous occasion. Your upcoming anniversary here about a month from now.
Wedding anniversary, correct, on September 7th.
As always, we want you to contribute to the show. You're gonna be a big part of that in the comments section as well. I have questions for you, Fred, about the Reds. And not off to the start that we thought they were going to have, but as I was watching and noticing some of the changes in the game and, a 7-inning complete game shutout.
Right, doubleheader. That was yesterday in the history of Major League Baseball. That was the first doubleheader because of the rain out on Saturday. of multiple game, a doubleheader, 7 innings, scheduled 7 and 7.
Right, but for Bauer, and I love Bauer, don't get me wrong.
I like him
but
a
to
ton.
get a 7-game or 7-inning
Well,
complete game, I mean, it's a complete game, yes, but
Let me tell you what, had he pitched 2 more innings, of course, David Bell wouldn't have allowed that.
Right.
But had he pitched 9, the Tigers wouldn't have scored on him anyway.
Well, you said something about David Bell that got me to thinking about other questions that I have about Reds baseball, just about baseball in general, and baseball in this city. I want to get to some of those, see if you can help me on
All right.
with that, and
I'll
something
try.
that may trigger another conversation down the line maybe for next week. We have our Holy Grail items for
do.
things that we collect. Is there something in a collection that we already have where there was like, if I could only get this, my collection would be complete? Or what would that be? And some of you have sent pictures and some notes about that. Feel free to contribute in the comments. We do have our first guest show and teller, and we're going to be doing show and tell to wrap up the show. So lots to get to. But I want to start with the Fidge update. Calvin and I are kicking ass. Everything's going great. But future Fidge.
Well, now, for those who don't know, Calvin is your dog.
Yeah, that's true. I haven't had a
You should
lifestyle
probably,
change.
Right. I was going to say, maybe I didn't catch something along the way, but
Or pitch it.
Right. So Calvin just celebrated what you believe to be his first birthday. He's a Lab Beagle mix,
Yes,
correct?
yes, he is. Every bit of it. He is
right.
Beagle from the shoulders to the tip of the nose.
So Lori and I we had 2 dogs. I had a dog and she had a dog when we got married, and they lived to each be about 15, passed away. I had a Quezon, some call it a Keyshawn. I basically describe it as a husky without the blue eyes.
Okay.
Name was Bear, lived to be 15. And so we've been kicking around getting a dog. Would we get a rescue? Well, we decided to get a puppy. So we tried to find a Quezon and had to go to Maryville, Tennessee, the closest breeder. Literally
right?
found out through a friend of our oldest son, Matthew, who was on a waiting list. And so we named it Fidge, is going to be the name of the dog.
Why?
Female. I don't know. That really doesn't have to
It's not a family name.
No, there's no real... I don't know what you want to call it.
It's not Lori's maiden name.
No,
It's not a...
Well, her maiden name is Federally, so I mean
there
it
you
starts
go.
with F. So anyway,
right.
it's Fidge, and so Fidge is about 2 weeks old now. We pick up Fidge between September 9 and September 16.
3 weeks
3
old.
weeks. I'm sorry, I missed a week. And so we'll have Fidge when she's 8 weeks. So obviously we have a fenced-in yard, but you need to make sure like it's properly fenced.
Yeah.
Like it's like that Kentucky board, whatever. There's 4 of them, but we've got the chicken wire almost all the way around, but we don't have any fencing on the left side as you come up the driveway. So I contacted the company that put the fence in and another company just to get an estimate. Well, I didn't realize this. There's a major shortage of pressure-treated wood or just wood in general because I guess during the C-word process, well, that can happen as you get older in life. But I would tell you
It's more deprivation based than anything.
I guess the issue is everybody's been doing this.
Yeah.
So there's no wood.
Yeah.
So literally, I sent out today, one can't do it for 12 weeks.
Oh.
Oops. The other one told me we're not scheduling any new installs until November. Well, that's not going to work. Now, somebody out there might say, why don't you just get a hidden fence? My only issue with the hidden fence is we've got the rest of the yard fenced in.
Right.
And the problem with the hidden fence is it keeps things from going out, but it doesn't keep it from going in.
Correct.
So anyway, now Gary the landscaper gets the call. He's put a couple fences in. So I can tell you, enjoy this show while you can. Because once Gary starts digging in the fence post, we probably will have no cable, no internet. What else can possibly go out?
No water. Gas line explosions.
Gas line's going to go out. We're going to have to have all those different spray painted areas.
More power to you, Gary.
Yeah, but he'll do fine. But are you kidding me?
Why couldn't you say to the people that did the original fence, say, well, this isn't a new install. This is just
I did.
an
I tried
addition
that.
to the current.
They were 12 weeks, but their schedule is, I guess, so booked that they won't because I even said,
But it's
is
not
there
even 10%.
I know. I
for
tried,
God's
man.
sakes.
It's
Customer
me,
service.
Dude, it's me you're talking about. For the record, I won't be able to. I'll have to continue to switch back and forth because I have a blood blister on my right bottom of my right foot. Hurts like hell. Can barely stand. And today I walked 3.5 miles today, and then I got home and could barely walk a foot. Oh, okay. Thank you.
All right.
Take
This will
a
make it feel better.
Well, yeah, I'd have just soaked in
So
that.
then
Yes.
it's funny because when we were outside shooting the promo, you're like, well, there's a little area she could squirt
Well,
through or
hold
whatever.
on,
Because there
because-
are a lot of little bits and pieces of area you're gonna have to get some extra chicken wire
we
on.
have another issue. We have a cat problem.
What?
Now, let me go on record as saying I hate cats.
I'm with you.
So the problem is we have some wild cats that live in the back that walk on the. I mean, and, you can't have a puppy. Now, trust me, as the dog gets a little older, cats will be no issue. They'll be eliminated. I'll see to that. A little training won't hurt. But sorry, animal activists, but cats, get them out of my yard. They're not my cats. I don't want them around here. I'll put up signs. I'll give them time. You've been warned. Get out. I'll put up a sign, and then Fidge will take action. But initially, until Fidge grows, cats could be an issue.
Cats will be the dominant
So
species. in
we've
the
got there has to be somewhere. Now they could just be walking in the front that's open, but I also in that back right corner where there's a bunch of arborvitaes and other blue spruce, there's got to be a hole back there somewhere.
Yeah.
So I got to get back
I
there.
was just wondering about all that myself, the arborvitaes, how that was going back in the corner there. No, I like kittens, but once they grow up, they turn into me, and I have so much self-loathing.
Well, I'm sorry if you're a cat lover. Cats are just stupid.
Well, they're
What do
cats
you do with them?
I would tell you this: I don't like them because of how smart they are. They're smart enough just to come to you when they need something. They're
Yeah, I
like
guess.
daughters,
But I
and
don't
then
want
they
them-
show up when they're hungry or if they
They
need something.
rub against you. I don't need
They
that.
they don't do that for me.
Poop in that.
Yeah,
big
anything that
box
craps
is
in the house besides
right.
me, I'm not a fan of. I'm with you. I'll give you
Well,
that one.
and then we'll have to go through the potty training.
Yeah, that should be
process.
good too because there's 5 people here in the house. I'm sure those
Oh, yeah.
duties will be split evenly.
So what do you think when Fidge gets up at 2 and 4 and 5? Who the hell you think will be up at those hours?
Like I said, there's 5
Like
people
I
here.
told you, we're just gonna have a maybe at 5 I will, but we're gonna
Yeah.
have a cage. I'm just gonna sleep next to the cage.
You're going to end up in the cage and he's going to
I might go in the cage.
Or
There
she.
might be just put
This
me
is a
in.
she, right?
It's a she, yes.
All right. I got a he for the first time
I know.
that I can remember. And you have a she for the first time you can remember.
No, I've never had a male dog. And I don't
Oh,
know.
you
No,
haven't?
we've always had females.
Oh, I thought Bear was
I
a
named
male.
a female dog Bear, which I realize doesn't make any logical sense.
That's all
but
right.
Neither here nor there.
I had a
So
female
then,
fish I named Penis.
quick other funny story. So this morning I'm walking through the neighborhood and there's a woman walking a case hunt. And they're very rare. I mean, you don't see many of them.
Right.
So I go up and I talk, and I love dogs. The thing I love is like this dog couldn't have been out of the house for very long, already yawning, stretching like multiple times. I'm like, are we bothering you? And I figured, I'm like, so how old's your dog? 2. I'm like, and she's already tired. Anyway, so we went through, then she started talking about matted fur, and then I'm like, oh, yeah.
Yeah. I will say that's the great thing about Calvin, man. I get
No,
that
you're
blade.
right.
He's like, zoop, zoop, done.
Correct.
He's great with that lab. I think he's part cat, though, in the fact that he walks along the back of the couch. He's a dog
Yeah, I've never
that'll
seen
walk
it,
up.
right.
He walks up around the edge of the furniture. It's a little bit odd, but he's pretty good. He's a pretty good kid. Now, so hopefully the dog, the future Fidge, aka Fidge, won't be a point of contention, so that you can make it to your actual anniversary. Let's talk a little bit about that because we have made this pact between us that we are going to try to do more different things. I think
Correct.
I am way in the lead in this
you
one
are.
as far as getting out and
You
doing
are.
something that's out of the norm for me and trying different stuff. It's fallen off a little bit with the C word that's going on.
Right.
But
Well,
what do you
that-
have in mind? Are you talking about a trip or what do you want?
Well, we don't know. We started talking about this yesterday, and I've got to give it up for my wife. A, she puts up with me, but B, since all of my vision issues, she's been an absolute trooper. I mean, she really and truly has. And I'm like, let's do something that we wouldn't do. And she came up with something that if we told our friends we were doing that, I'll be like, you're doing that?
You too?
kind of thing?
No, they
Yeah.
wouldn't believe it.
So we talked about going to Red River Gorge, which I'm all in for, hiking, whatever. But then she thought maybe kind of a semi-visually impaired man on the edge of somewhere.
Not on the precipice of, yeah.
Well,
Whatever.
she talked about how she might be, somebody might say, why would you have taken him down there and let him fall off that cliff?
Then
so I
the
don't know.
investigation begins.
So I would ask anybody out there watching, and I'm not an outdoors person. I like to walk. I don't mind hiking. I'm not sleeping in a tent. I've never understood. I don't want to sleep in a tent. I just
no,
don't.
I don't either. Not when
But-
there's perfectly good houses available.
Correct. That's but like to do something, and it doesn't necessarily have to be outside, but something or some things that we've never done.
What about zip lining? Do you have any interest in that? I did that once when I was still under the weight limit. I'm working my way back to be able to do it again.
Well, I can tell you one thing I'm not doing from something you did. I'm not getting a hot air balloon ride.
No.
I don't need Carlos to kind of impale me from behind.
If you do, I've got a good company. Get a hold of sodomylanding.com because they'll hook you up with the best balloon ride ever.
I'm perfectly fine. You got it twice, didn't you?
I did. I was my own sloppy seconds for that guy.
Right.
That was
no,
good.
but see, you got to remember, I'm a little bit afraid of heights.
Well, but
so I wouldn't do well in that little, whatever the hell you call that little basket.
The gondola made of
with
straw.
The flames. I wouldn't be good with that.
It's flames above your head
right,
and wooden straw woven into a basket.
A hell of a long
There's
way
nothing.
down.
There's nothing about it that makes any sense whatsoever.
I want adventure, not
it was
that
cool,
adventure.
I did go zip lining.
Okay.
And I had
Did you like that?
I really did. It was really cool. My sister and her family just did it a couple of weeks ago, and they posted
Where did you
some
do
pictures.
that?
I did it at Camp Kern.
Okay.
I think.
Yep.
And they posted pictures, and so I decided to comment. I said, "Oh, I got to go zip lining once." I said because what they do is they send one. Well, at this place, they sent one person down on the end for guide you in or receiving because whatever, and then one person stays up with you and goes last. And I said, I got to go zip lining once. You should have seen the face of the guy that was on the receiving end of me coming in hot, and I didn't realize what I had typed, and I'm like. Yeah, I'll rephrase that later on, but you should have seen that dude. When I came sailing down that line, he's like, his eyes got big as saucers. He's like, I got to catch this. I hope the tree doesn't snap in half.
Now, this is going to sound awful and weird and ridiculous, but okay. I would like to, I've never skied, and with our tenuous ankles, probably not a good idea
Water
to John
ski?
Denver down a hill.
Oh,
No,
snow ski.
Snow ski.
That's fun.
But I'd love to go and hang out in the cabin up there. You know what I
the
mean?
lodge.
Just hang out in the lodge, stay there. I'll ride the little car up or whatever.
No, you can't do that because then you have to. How are you going to get down?
I'll just ride it down.
Belly flop.
I'll just ride the car
Just
back
ride
down.
it, stay on it,
I'll
go.
just stand. You can just swirl me around.
They don't allow flasks.
Build a fire. I'll drink a few beverages and I'll be fine.
I went out years ago. We had a ski thing at well, I won't say the place. It's a place you can go skiing, snow skiing close to here.
Gotcha.
You can figure it out.
In other words, if you can't go south, you might want to go.
Yes.
Okay.
And that'd be a perfect place to go. As a matter
would
of
it
fact.
now? Okay.
But I was riding up the ski lift. Do you remember Paulie Stone?
Oh,
from
yeah.
EBN?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you how he got his name. We're riding up the ski lift, and he's like, "Oh, Dolphin, have you ever skied? I'm not really much of a skier." I go, "Are you nervous?" He goes, "Not really, dude." And he's cuffing a joint about this long in his leather jacket or
Hence
whatever he's
the
got
not
on.
nervous.
Yeah. So he's like, "You want some?" I'm like, "No." So he pulls it out just long enough for me to see what it is, and he cuffs it back up. I don't know who saw it, but somebody from the ski patrol saw it.
Oh,
I saw a guy ski up a hill. He skied uphill to come get him and throw him
Really?
out of there. And I'm like, okay. So just if you go, just use your head for more
I'd
than
like
a
to do something.
hat
I'd like to
rack.
do something different, something that we have not done.
But sitting in a ski lodge drinking beer, watching sports isn't that different. You're
Well,
just
no,
doing
but
it surrounded by snow.
It'd be something, and because as you know, I'm a helpless romantic.
Hopeless,
and
not help.
something-
Helpless.
Did I say helpless?
You said helpless.
That too.
Yeah.
But I would tell
Hang
you.
on, I'm looking in the other
Yeah.
room. The executive producer is nodding her head almost off its
Right.
neck.
Thanks for the support. But I would tell you that building a fire, I mean, that'd be cool, right?
That would be all right.
So anyway, if you've got any suggestions,
All right.
please hit us up. You're watching Larger Than Live. It's Gamble and Finn. We do it every Monday at 7.
Oh,
Make sure, join us,
Here's one for
like,
you.
share, watch our YouTube channel. Yes.
Steve Sadowski says Bourbon Trail. That's going to be mine.
Well, that'd be awesome if I like. Good suggestion. I don't like bourbon.
Here, Keith Decker apparently hates your guts. He said whitewater rafting.
Oh, thanks. You want to get rid of me, Keith? I appreciate the sentiment.
Let's see. We'll keep watching. I will tell you something cool. Speaking of the Bourbon Trail, they're starting to do. You can do tours down at Maker's Mark again.
Okay.
And there was Maker's Mark 46, which you have a bottle of it right over there on your wall. Never to be drunk. It's signed. Who's it signed by? I forget.
Signed by Bill Samuel Jr., I believe.
Okay, well it's his recipe. It's stave number 46. Well, this past Thursday they just did a Zoom call with Bill Jr. for the 10th anniversary.
God, even bourbon people are doing Zoom
of Maker.
calls.
But this was very cool, dude. And I got to be honest with you, this might choke me up here because I was on, and I told you my history with my dad and Bill Sr.
Yep.
When Makers got started, my dad was their banker and put everything in line for them. And so they were taking questions, and I was on the Brady Bunch grid.
Taking verbal questions? Or
Yeah, he was on. He was
Gotcha.
talking.
Okay.
He was on talking about the different things, and people were asking questions about it and everything. And there was a moderator, so I did. I typed in my question. I just said, "Hey, just wanted you to know that Charlie Walters' son is on and has become a fan." And da 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 da. And as soon I was watching, because I didn't think they'd get to it. I thought there was about questions.
Right,
It wasn't going to be about something like that. As soon as he heard my dad's name, he backed up in his chair. He goes, "Oh," he goes, "Charlie was our this and our that," and he goes, "And I'll tell you something else. He's the reason Dad could sleep at night."
Wow.
Talking about Bill
That's
Sr.
pretty cool. Now,
And
how old is
that-
Bill Jr. now? Would you say
is
roughly?
Probably 70.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
and Rob is his son who's running everything
Okay,
now.
gotcha.
But when he said that he was the one that allowed Dad to sleep at night, that threw me, and I just lost it. But that was really cool. I got to share that with my mom. That
So
was
what
pretty
did
awesome.
you do, like as part of the call? Were you was the idea to just talk about it and then taste it
Yeah.
while you were okay?
It was a virtual tasting. You know, everybody was invited to have
Gotcha.
some
Okay.
with them, and they've got a cask strength coming out that's straight out of the barrel. That'll be, I mean, if you can find it, great, or whatever. But it was him. It was his last recipe and his real big contribution to the future of Makers. So they were just celebrating the 10th anniversary. He's out of the game now, and Rob is doing everything.
What's the one thing you mentioned to me where you can go down? You yourself can go. Remember you said it, and you
The ambassador program,
Okay.
which I joined, and then you put your name on a barrel.
That's what it is.
In
Okay.
about 6 or 7 years, it matures. You're told when it's come. Then you can come down and buy bottles out of your own barrel with your own label. But you can go down anytime and do the tour, and you can dip your own bottles and stuff like that. So it was a pretty cool thing to
Yeah,
be
that
able to
would
do
be
that.
cool.
I got to share that with my mom, and so that was a cool moment. But to Steve's point, yeah, the Bourbon Trail is something I'm absolutely going to be doing with my better half. Nude resort. Michelle suggests maybe you guys go to a nude resort.
Yeah, except my wife would probably ask me to cover up.
You're looking good. You're looking slim, slender.
Yeah, but I.
Are you flabby? Like, is all that skin just hanging?
I
you
could
want to?
use some muscle. Yeah, I could. I could use a little further up.
All
you
right.
know.
Well, let's see.
That's going to go over. I'm all for that.
All right, there you
I have
go.
no issue. We'll create our own nude resort.
I got to
have
be
no
honest.
issue
I got to
with
be
that.
honest with
Yes.
you. Most of the nude resorts you
Oh,
want to
they're
go
brutal.
to. Do you
Well,
ever
don't
go up
forget-
to the one up here off of Blue Rock
Hold
Road?
on, dude. Don't forget where I grew up. That was right on the way down to Rumpke Park where I played softball.
Oh, right.
And a buddy of mine's had a farm up there, and there's a little invention called binoculars. And let me tell you,
It's brutal.
man, not after you just ate.
Yeah,
Awful.
it's pretty brutal.
Because they don't care. They are nudist people who are in nudist colonies should be fully clothed. Let's just leave it at that.
It'd be self-defeating.
Put your damn clothes
But nevertheless,
on. Yes.
all right. Well, speaking of stripping down, let's talk a little bit about what we're doing here. It's Larger Than Live, Gamble and Finn. For years, we did morning radio together. He and I have done radio in different incarnations. You with Skinny and the Two Angry Guys,
Yep.
and me with the Dawn Patrol for years. Now we're doing the thing on WLW Thursday nights after the Reds. Free up Thursday nights on WLW. But it's just one of those things where we decided we're going to get together and have some fun doing this, because clearly what you see is so much more enticing than what you hear. But
Right.
you know, why not give it a shot and let's have some fun with it.
I know plenty of people who put it on in the background, and I can't blame them.
Yeah, we also thought about maybe taking the audio from this and making it a podcast just so you could listen in case you couldn't stomach the view. But
Hey, at least you wore a shirt tonight.
I did, yeah.
Better.
I wore an outer shirt instead of just an undershirt. I got a compliment on this shirt already, by the
did?
way. Yeah, this is the only video game I remember being able to play.
Atari.
The Atari, yeah.
Okay, I remember that.
I think I got this at a Cracker Barrel, which is the most appropriately named place on the planet Earth.
Do you realize what you just said
Yeah, I
about
know.
yourself?
I know.
I'm wearing
I know.
an Atari shirt that I got at a Cracker Barrel.
Yeah, because I went shopping while I waited 14
God,
minutes for
right.
my table. I bought that, and I bought, for some reason, in the middle of July, I was able to buy a Mrs. Claus statue.
Did you get you any rock candy while you
No,
were
I
there
got some
too?
circus peanuts
Right,
and some of those wax things that you bite the head off and suck
my
the
God.
juice out of.
Anyone need a candle?
I got some wax
Before you
lips,
eat
and I got
your
a
omelet?
shawl.
Right. Well, I'll tell you what, run that shawl to the nudist colony.
There you go.
Fast.
Yeah, hopefully with small loops.
Right, yes.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about the Reds. Obviously,
Okay.
in rain out right now,
Rain
or
delay,
rain delay
yes.
at this point. Had to go back to back yesterday. Bauer not happy, obviously, with being told 8 minutes before game time the day before that they were not going to be playing, and they talked a lot about that last night. But taking 2 from Detroit.
Well,
which
and the Cubs
should
weren't
have
that
happened.
happy where the Reds tried to extend it here.
Yes, that was not good either.
Because they wanted to get out of town. But I mean, the one thing is you got 60 games. And you don't have that many chances to make them up, and especially if your team has COVID.
And that brings the point back around to a lot of heat on David Bell about pulling pitchers too early. Why not just gas and go since you've only got 60 games?
I guess.
And that was the big concern yesterday. Bauer is just throwing smoke.
Well, I think a lot of people in the first game, too, Anthony DeSclafani threw 65 pitches through 6 innings. But I guess I argued with Lance about this on the phone today. And, he said first start of the year, and he did say that, he understood, he wanted to go, but he felt that, I don't know. What I don't understand, I think there's way too much over managing. There's way too many analytics in baseball.
But you also mentioned something one time about contracts, and certain guys have to get a number of innings in and everything else. That's a bullshit way to play your game.
It's inning based. It's save related. When you're looking at bonuses, et cetera. And unfortunately, that's as if they're not making enough money with the base salary. It's the incentive laden. I just wish, I don't understand this. In a 9-inning game, if you bring a dude in the 8th and he just completely mows down 3 guys quickly and he throws 8 to 11 pitches, let him start the 9th.
Yeah.
Well, why? Amir Garrett did that, and then they brought in Raisel Iglesias, who got the win yesterday. But he was 3-12 last year, lost his first game this year. He can't win games.
But I asked you about that after opening day and the big win, and then there was just a spate of ugly and bad decision making. But you said something, and this got me to thinking. You said, well, I'm willing to give David Bell a pass. He's a local guy. He's from here. He's this, he's that, da-da-da-da. And that stuck in my head because that is, I don't know if it's that big of a deal in every city, but that is a very Cincinnati thing. Well,
it is, but
they're from here. Who cares?
But let me tell you.
Why does that matter? I mean, I get it with Griffey.
Well,
but everybody else is, he's from
it doesn't
here.
matter.
Yay.
Lance,
it does to this city.
Lance does extra innings, and he told me after that little swoon they had, the 2 themes were same old Reds and fire David Bell. I guess my point is, you're not, if you fire a manager now, why?
Right. Well,
why not? What bothers me more about David Bell is have some life, man. Show some life. I think this team sometimes plays like its manager. And I'm not saying last year he got thrown out of games and he argued with them. I'm not talking about that. Show some life. Like David Ross. When you look at how he brought the Cubs in here, I don't know. There's just something about that.
I go back to he's the Joe Burrow thing. He's from around here. It's like, I don't understand everyone's fascination with being from this area.
Well, they're fascinated with it until they don't produce, and then it doesn't matter.
But that's why it threw me when you said, well, I'm willing to give him a pass. And the very first thing you said, he's from here. He's a local guy. And I'm like, I don't know. I just think that's, when I hear that, and I hear it a lot from different sports fans, because clearly, I'm a Louisville fan.
Sure.
Maybe I guess Vince Tyree is the AD down there at Louisville, and I went to high school with him. Charlie Tyree's son.
Yep.
A legacy within the University of Louisville, which makes more sense, I guess, in that respect.
Well, here's what I would tell you.
But I didn't sit around going, yay, he's from Louisville, yay. Whoever would have got the job done is who I wanted there.
Well, and you shouldn't get a pass because you are local. So you ought to be evaluated just the same as if they brought in, like when Lou Piniella was the manager here. John McNamara, I think we might hear about him a little later.
Yeah.
In show and tell. But nonetheless, they need to produce. If they brought in all this talent, and if you look at what they've been doing recently, a lot of what they've done are all from new guys. Nick Castellanos, Akiyama, Moustakas, Bauer. Bauer was with them last year. The other 3 guys are all new. The rest of the offense really hasn't done that much.
Yeah, well, we shall see. Now, there is something going on in the comments. I'm not going to tell you exactly what it is, but it's a question that's being asked right now, and I'm going to tell you 7:34. So set your OUs on 7:34 and go ahead and make your picks. Here's another thing I don't understand about baseball. The ball is pitched. I've never understood this.
Right.
The ball is pitched. It hits the ground, bounces up into the catcher. he immediately hands the ball back to be discarded to get a new ball.
Scuffed up, man. Got to get that new, clean, shiny baseball.
So let me ask you this. A guy smashes one into center field. Yeah. It's caught on the warning track, goes right back to the pitcher. Well, which of those two balls has the most potential damage to it on the upcoming pitch?
Well, they're throwing more balls out this year because of the C word. I would think if it hit the dirt, it might brush off some of the germs.
But I've never understood that. You smash a ball and it gets thrown back around the infield and back to the pitcher. There's probably a flat spot on that ball somewhere, but it just grazes the dirt. It's got to go.
A couple guys have actually at the last out of the inning in the outfield have turned and thrown the ball in the stands, and there's no one there. Yeah, that's happened on a couple occasions.
I saw a great one the other day. I think it was one of these inter-squad scrimmages, and Winker was out in left field, and he got underneath one and caught it, and then he took his hat off and was, giving it
having a little fun
to the crowd that wasn't there. It was really funny. But why is that? Why does that ball? If anybody that is watching knows, I don't understand that. That ball has to go.
I think they give it to the ball boy so he can kind of.
Do they clean it up and does it get back into? Does it get back into the game? Because I know they pay guys to scuff balls up. Yeah. I mean, you might scuff 80 to 100 baseballs before a game.
Right.
Do they wipe them off or scuff them up or do whatever and get them back into play?
Some pitchers don't even like the ball.
Pitchers
probably
don't want.
They have to be sanitized. Now you got to get that Lysol wipe out.
But this is always, just always for years, just like, and then off to the side. I just wonder, do those balls make it back into play? Because it doesn't make any sense that a little bit of dirt on one ball would be worse than a ball having a flat spot.
Maybe they're
because somebody
misleading the pitcher.
Roped it.
Catcher hands it to the ump. He puts it in the ball bag and later brings it back out, and Fred on the mound doesn't know.
I don't know. I just always wondered. Maybe somebody does know that. Please enlighten me. That's just something I have never known and understood about baseball. And let me ask you this, and this is something that could go into a conversation.
By the way, you would be the only one that would come up with that. I've watched baseball for my whole damn life.
That's never bothered you?
I don't care.
I don't understand. It seems like discrimination against dirty balls.
You're not buying the baseball. Just let them bring it in.
I know, but it just seems like a waste of balls.
It's all good.
All right. I've already said way too much in this show that could be used against me.
Right.
So my other question, is there anything more embarrassing? And this could be something, what's the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to you for a future show?
Oh, how long you got?
Okay. Well, we may have to do a special.
That's part one and part two.
Well, maybe when we're doing 2 shows a week here later in the month.
Sure.
We can do that. Then being like a pitcher that gets pulled like in the first inning or in the second. I mean, how, even as a pro.
But you know what?
Doesn't that have to embarrass you? Because there's no other sport where they go out and they go, yeah. Okay.
I would tell you though,
and then you got to do the walk of shame 80 feet over to the dugout before you destroy a Gatorade cooler.
At any level, you've been pulled in every inning at some point in time.
Ooh, man!
I think if you pitch at any level, we've all.
Is there a more humiliating replacement in any sport that you can think?
Well,
of?
there's one in baseball. If you're such a sorry ass in the field that they pull you in the middle of an inning, that's the most humiliating. So now a lot of times they'll make a double switch, for the batting purposes. But I'm talking about.
I don't think I've ever seen anybody just pulled straight out of a game.
Happened.
Like in Little League.
It doesn't happen very often, and it usually creates a huge rift between them. But from Castellanos, who yesterday in that first game should have caught the ball that allowed the score to be tied 3-3. He was the one griping to David Bell about being pulled for defense with Travis Jankowski, the Bronson Arroyo lookalike, in an earlier game. And to that I say, catch the ball if you don't want to be pulled.
He should have been called off of that ball, though, shouldn't he? I mean, isn't center fielder sort of
I don't know that much, but that's there.
Yeah.
Catch the damn ball.
It was funny because I was watching along on Twitter because I'm a huge Twitter person now, and I love me some TikTok. We'll get into that another day.
I'm almost not able to continue to do this anymore.
Me, to be honest with you, me too.
You're watching the game on Twitter?
I may just throw myself off the natural bridge. I'll go with you on your trip and just throw myself off. Now I'm watching along, and everybody just assumes they're going to lose the game once that happens.
Well, and
the assumption was, they've lost. Way to snatch victory from the hands of defeat or jaws of defeat or whatever. That just kind of cracked me up. And then there's something else I had never seen. Who were we watching the other day? And I called you and I said, I've never seen a pitcher in a
Yeah.
game pull a note card out of his back pocket to look at notes on a hitter.
It was Turnbull who was
Turnbull,
who's
yeah.
the starter, who was 3-17. Maybe he should be reading note cards last year for the Tigers. But here's the
He was killing it
But
that
Chris
day.
Welsh he goes, I've never seen that. He goes, trust your stuff.
Yeah.
You're mowing down the opposition. And I would argue, but I'm telling you, the problem
I didn't know
is,
they were allowed to do that.
you can look. I mean, I don't see.
I mean,
how's
he
that
had
gonna
notes in
help
his
with-
back pocket.
So Henry, the pitching coach, who's over there probably sleeping, and, he probably wrote down these notes. There's so much over managing and over coaching. Just let these dudes play. All these analytics of this guy has
Launch
this
angle.
average. Oh my God! Just shut up
Bat
and play
speed.
Let me tell you what. When I played the game, we played it like men. This nonsense. You pitch both games with a doubleheader.
That's right.
Back in my day with 2 7-inning games, you'd have gone both.
And you
Not
hit,
today.
and you also hit.
Today,
had a hit.
you better get Jim out. His arms get tight. His oblique might be affected.
Oh, his oblique. That's my favorite. I've renamed the oblique the Chipper Jones. Chipper Jones was out with an oblique strain like every 4 weeks.
Apparently, Harrison Bader of the Cardinals, who's on the COVID list, got an oblique strain at the Gentleman's Club.
Oh, did he?
Well, what he ought to do is be in the batting cage, learn how to hit a curveball instead of going to the strip club.
Well, I think something beginning with an O was the issue, but I don't think it was the oblique.
I
Oh.
would tell you this, though. Baseball, they're really, and that's when you know it's live, too, when the Gamble phone is
Is that
ringing
your
in the
phone
background.
going off?
Yes, that's the phone.
I thought it was broken.
But here's what I would do. Well, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It decides. And I like the new feature on the cable that we now have,
What's that?
where when you change the channel, it says, do this to upgrade channel. I just had the channel on. I don't need it to upgrade. I don't need the damn thing to come in. Cable TV sucks.
Back to the list.
It just sucks. Well, you ever
I got
try
the
to,
YouTube TV. I'm a man of the future, Fred. You're gonna have to keep up
I'm
with
a
me.
man still clinging to the
I'm a
past.
man
my
of the
friend.
future. I got the YouTube TV. I got apps on my TV.
No need. No need apps.
Boy,
on it.
wouldn't it be great if you had an app that was an app? Like you could like bring up like chicken wings, and then you could like Willy Wonka just reach in
And the
pull
TV
them off
would
the
just
TV, and then
hand you
eat.
a-
Oh,
that'd be
that would be the
awesome.
ultimate app.
That sounds
All
great.
right, Gamble
Yes.
and Finn, larger than live here at House Gamble. The weather pushed us inside. We're pushing ourselves inside your homes.
It's raining still.
We appreciate you being part of it. We invited you to not only just be a part of the comments, but also be a part of Show and Tell, which we're going to do Show and Tell here, where we pull something out of our collection of stuff that we have, show it to you, tell you a little story about it. Hopefully you find it as interesting as we do. And I think, and then we're going to get to the Holy Grail item.
Well, have we done the over-under yet?
Oh, the over-under was 34. So if you guessed the over,
What
then
did I do?
Then you are a winner. If you had the over, you are a winner. If the over-under on when you were going to actually open your beer.
Oh,
It's his after-show beer, says Jim.
yeah, that's right. I work first and then I play. That's
Is
how
that
this
right?
thing. That's old school, man. Not like this stuff today where you get loaded and then you decide if you're gonna work.
There you go. 7:38
You know
now.
what the hell?
You're going to do it? All right.
Yeah.
Decker, the guy's trying to kill you. He chose 7:35. So
He's the
you,
guy who wants the whitewater rafting.
Yep, you screwed him.
Well, a visually impaired guy to be careening down the rapids,
You,
right?
I can just see you whitewater.
What the hell is she laughing at? That's not funny.
That's what made me laugh. I heard her laughing.
Right.
In the
She
other
was
room.
laughing. That's not nice.
Oh, that's great. Careening. That's a good word.
Like,
that
you ever
word
careen?
doesn't that word. Oh,
I
yeah.
bet you careened down that zip line.
I will tell you
I'm
no.
surprised that damn thing's probably still going.
I'm surprised it didn't sled and pull the two trees down like this and slingshot to the moon.
Well, with my luck, suddenly I'd be like Tarzan flying into some lake. That thing would spring loose with me on it.
Man, the other night I went careening down the hallway to my bed. That's a whole different story, though.
That almost made me not be able to take that last sip.
All right, so
Yes.
all right, let's do our guest show and tell, and we have
Okay.
an intro for this, which I'm very fond of.
Hang on, we're trying.
Oh, there we go. Did it run?
It did not.
It did not run. We don't have an intro for that. The thing that you thought you
We
saw
did.
the
That
previous.
got blown out of the system. It was so technically advanced.
It was probably.
All right, hang on. Let's
it
try
was
it again. It's
Property
time
of Fisher
for
Price. We got
show and tell.
shut down. Nope.
Nope.
For next week for show and tell, we're going to show you some of the technology we've been using.
Yeah. Next week, one of us is going to go show,
and then
the other
maybe
one's going to go tell.
And then maybe somebody can tell us how it works. It's so funny. One thing every week decides it's not going to do
Well,
its
you know
thing.
what? At least we're not on helium this week that we know of anyway.
That's a good point. All right, so Blake
Yes.
Smith, send us, and we want you to send us pictures. Gamble and Finn, GambleAndFin, the only one that doesn't have the N in the middle like that, at gmail.com. That's the one where you can send your picture and you can send your description, and that's what Blake Smith did. And I don't know this story. Do you know the story about these baseballs?
Yeah, well, he was a guy, one of my great friends from high school, and he was a guy who he just got foul balls like at games, including we were in Atlanta. We went down, it was the old Fulton County Stadium in Atlanta, and I think he's got 4 baseballs there. I think he's got 9 in his career.
Nice.
He's got 4 there. He's got a hockey puck from, I believe, a Stingers game.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and he was just that guy. He was maybe when we were in Atlanta, we went to Cheetah 3 where you could get a car wash. You could literally get your car washed while you went in to enjoy some of the entertainment.
The undercarriage was the especially nice touch.
It was cleaned. And then the Gold Club, which is where Patrick Ewing, Andrew Jones, that was a frequent stop, I do believe.
Yeah, did they go there for the food? Like your boy...
Cheeseburger, maybe a little beef stew or chili.
Yeah. Who was it that... Lou Williams,
Oh,
sweet
Lou,
Lou
right,
Williams, who
right.
went to pick up dinner at the Teddy Bar.
He sat his 2 games out.
He sat out his 2 games. Yeah, a pair, you say. All right, so there you can see Blake's balls and his puck right there. Yeah, it is a Stinger's puck. How about
Yeah,
that?
see?
That's pretty cool.
Right.
So, and then he also had sent, I don't know if we have the graphic on this one, but he had sent a
right.
picture. He was in the paper, and this came
Correct.
up because Mac died last week. John
McNamara, who at the time was the Reds manager, and I believe the year was 1982. So it was the year after we graduated from high school. And he was photographed wearing a bag on his head.
Yeah, because he
the,
wanted him fired. Well, didn't he say, he goes, I had never seen the Reds be bad. That was the first time they did a nosedive, and he had never seen them be bad.
And that's what people who grew up when I did, that's so tough for like a younger generation is they weren't, they were World Series contenders almost every year that I can remember back then.
Yeah. No,
so that's how easy it is to send us your show and tell.
It's just that simple. So now we're going to show you ours. And I want to get to the Holy Grail items because we talked about this. You and I both have collected things over the years. Similarly, beer cans. I had Mad magazines and a handful of other things.
I had everything you could possibly coins, stamps, baseball cards, magazines.
I've started a new collection, and I can start if you'd like.
Matchbooks.
Matchbooks?
Yeah, well, like the little matches you would get from the various.
Why did you
states.
collect those?
I don't know. Why do you collect anything?
Did your dad bring them back whenever he'd travel? Come
did.
on over here, son.
He did, yep.
Here's a matchbook I got for you. It's from a place called the Gold Club. Let's not tell your mother about this.
No, but I did. I used to go. They don't have them anymore. That used to be a thing when you walked out.
Yeah.
Just picked one up. I probably still have those somewhere.
And then, the Holy Grail item is a thing, whether you had a collection or if there's something that you saw, well, wouldn't it be cool to have that? And there's one thing I have on my list that would be the Holy Grail for me with a collection. And then there's one thing that I actually have. And I think, you actually have
there's one
something?
that I have. Yeah, I could come up with another perhaps.
Really? All right. Well, let me show you this one. The one thing that's on my list that if I can get it, because I've started collecting Bob Ross memorabilia. And there's everything: Christmas ornaments, energy drink, I've underwear. It's everything. I got socks.
Really?
I got every bobblehead. I got all kinds of stuff. And I have this coffee table book, The Joy of Painting. I don't think I sent you a picture of this eagle, but it shows you a lot of the different pieces that he did and talks a lot about how they were done, so on and so forth. So much is made of the way he spoke and what he said, and we don't have accidents or, we don't make mistakes. We just have happy accidents, all that stuff. If I could get my hands on one of his paintings, that would be the Holy Grail for me. I was told that they sold them to raise money for the different PBS stations that he did them for. He did 3 versions of every painting. He did the one he was going to do on the show for reference that sat off camera so he could look at it. Then he did the one that was live on TV when he was painting in that 30 minutes. Then he did another one that they could use to shoot still photos for books like this. So there are 3 versions of every one of those at least. None of them are anywhere. They're
That's what I was
sitting
going to
in
ask
a
you. Have you ever
warehouse.
tried to get them?
I have, and everyone's like, "Oh, you can't find one for less than $10,000." You can't find one. Period. The people that run the Bob Ross Incorporated say they have all of them, and I saw a thing where they had warehouses full of boxes of all of his paintings. Why they don't sell those, I don't know. But if anybody ever comes across one that can be legitimately verified, that would be the one that I would love to. That would be the holy grail for me, because I grew up watching him on PBS. I'm not just a Johnny come lately to the Bob Ross phenomenon. I come by it naturally. I ordered a Bob Ross for President T-shirt, which will be scary because he's dead, but it'd still be a better option than any of the clowns that we have perhaps running for. I don't know. I'm not going to talk about politics because we know what happens there. Bob Ross is not a legitimate candidate. We don't have to offer equal time. Anyway, and then, so that would be my holy grail of things I don't have. You want to know about the thing I do have?
Sure, you do that.
Do you know
first.
this?
I do not.
You don't know? It's the thing in the box. In this box. And the graphic, I know Eagle has the graphic. You know my love of the movie Ishtar.
Correct.
Okay. Have you ever seen the movie
Have
Ishtar?
not.
Well,
You know me. We're different. I'm a sports guy. You're more of a movie guy. I'm
Right.
not a huge movie guy.
Well, this was a movie that I'll very quickly. Summer school, 86 to 87 in Miami. Me and 2 buddies of mine, Scott Hess and Rob Garrell, went up to see Ishtar at the Princess Theater in Oxford. No one was in the theater, just us. It was one of the biggest bombs in the history of Hollywood.
I would just say pretty good indicator.
But it was based on the budget. Everybody's talking about the budget before they talked about the movie itself. So it bombed at the box office, but it's a very funny movie. Well, we went back and saw it every day for 6 days in a row. And there was never anybody in the theater. Well, there's a lot of songs in there. They're terrible songs. The whole idea is that Dustin Hoffman and Warren Beatty are terrible songwriters who are trying to get a gig. They get sent to Morocco, and they end up in this weird intrigue. Charles Grodin's in the movie, Isabella Adjani, Elaine May directed the movie. It's really, really awesome cast of characters and people involved. But so we learned all the songs in the movie. So we were just sitting in there singing all the songs at full volume since we were the only ones in there. The 7th day we went to see the movie again. It was gone. My buddy Rob was a film study major. So he said, well, where did they send the canister with the film? We sent it to the Hamilton Drive-In or Middletown Drive-In. Got in the car, drove to the drive-in, bought our tickets in advance. That did not make the guy at the drive-in happy because we were the only car in the drive-in watching the movie. So they had to show it. We went bowling, had some beers, whatever. Bottom line is the movie is about these guys going to Morocco, and they land in Ishtar, which is a fictional country.
Right.
And when they go in, their passports are laid out. And I think you have the picture. The passports are laid out with Dustin Hoffman and Warren Beatty. And you see the stamp. It goes boom, boom for Ishtar. And we watched this when it came out on VHS. And I remember sitting there one day with the 2 of them. And we were watching, just getting schmammered. And I said, how cool would it be to have that stamp, that passport stamp? Fast forward 8 years. I get a box in the mail. It's a wedding gift in 1996. And within that box was that stamp. My buddy Rob, who worked in film study, went to work at Universal Studios.
Oh, wow.
And they had a prop sale. And in this little wicker basket, this was laying in the wicker basket, and there were 2 of them because they had to have backup props. So I got one, and Scott, the other guy that was there with us, got the other one.
Oh, that's cool.
So if you look at it, and I think there's a picture, you have the other picture coming up, or it may already be up, but this is the actual stamp that they used to stamp those 2 passports in the movie Ishtar. And I have a big poster that's framed, and I have some other stuff. But to me, this is the holy grail of movie props for me. It's in my top 3 favorite movies of all time. Maybe something from a Monty Python, maybe from The Life of Brian would be up there as well. But right there, that's it. If you'd like, I brought a stamp pad if you would like me to stamp something with the official Ishtar stamp for
I'd
you
love to have
before I
something,
leave.
sure.
How about one of your things? I could stamp that.
No, you don't touch it.
You know,
No, that's silly.
no?
No, so, all right.
There's Calvin in the background.
So, for God's sake.
There he is.
So we'll start with my holy grail, which I actually have.
Okay, you have
So,
it, right?
yes. So my wife, for a wedding gift, got me this. There's only 100 of these. Ted Williams.
Wow.
Signed by Ted Williams.
The Splendid Splinter?
Yes, absolutely. So I mean, that's
Signed by Ted Williams.
Signed by Ted. Yeah. Only I did number 88 of 100.
Wow.
So that's, for somebody who's a true
Yeah.
purist baseball,
Yeah.
that's pretty darn.
That's up there with the Babe and
That-
very
no
few others in that pantheon.
That's yes.
Wow.
So that's awesome. Holy Grail for me, I love music.
Okay.
And this is something I'm never going to get. So I'd love to have a guitar that he played autographed by Jimmy Page.
Okay.
I'm obviously never going to get that unless I want to spend, I don't know. Can you even buy one?
I would imagine you
probably
could.
can, but what do you think the cost of that?
Well, it would be a charity thing or something like that, and it
Right.
would be through the roof.
Which is not going to happen.
Well, it's funny because you and I both, and I would tell you something, and we can agree. Oh, you got something else?
I do.
Holy shitballs.
Well, remember last week where I was telling you about the argument of Kiss versus Yes.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yes.
So the guy,
The classic age-old argument of influence and talent.
I just want to take you back a few years when you sat around going, Kiss, no, Yes, Kiss. So I believe Kiss was better musically than Yes. Obviously didn't know anything then. But the guy who argued for Yes was a young man named Bruce Callies, who I went to junior high with.
Okay.
His dad was the official scorer for the Cincinnati Swords, who played at the Garden. So we're talking way back. They were the minor league team for the Buffalo Sabres. And in honor of hockey being back and the tournament going on, Golden Knights are playing now. Blue Jackets won yesterday. This is Ron Busniak, number 5, his stick. And to tell you how times have changed, the tape, it's so old, the tape came off.
I was going to say, it looks like it's been whittled down.
Well, the tape came off, and he signed it in pencil. Today we use a Sharpie. Buzzing, and you could barely, it's almost completely faded.
I'll tell you what.
But this was the stick that look at that,
That's
how small
great.
it is, too,
Wow.
compared to today. So, but we used to go all the time and hang out, and we used to get to go in the locker room, which back then when you're in junior high are you kidding me? It was cool as hell.
No, that's very cool. Well, and you know what? And those are the things where when it has the story tied to it, it's so much more meaningful. And one of the things that I could tell you that we both, I think, over the years, when you worked in sports radio or when we worked at 96 Rock or when I was at EBN or for even more so, when I was at KLS in Atlanta, we were the flagship station for the Braves. You talked about Jimmy Page and that guitar. I think one of the coolest parts about those jobs was knowing somebody that might be a big fan of someone that to you, it was not a big deal to be able to get you to connect with them. Even a phone call or get a meet them or get something signed or whatever, but to be the conduit to do that for someone. And I did that with my buddy Matt. He was a huge Rush fan, and twice we got to go back and say hello to Geddy Lee. And he's a bass player, so his big 5, John Paul Jones, Chris Squire from Yes.
Yes, yep.
Geddy, and then there were 2 others on there, and I forget who they were, but I got him to meet 3 of the top 5, and that for me is as satisfying as doing it myself.
Well, you remember this. When we were on the radio in the beginning at 96 Rock, we had our producer was Sister Karen.
Yep.
And you remember when Nikki Sixx called in
Oh,
for
yeah.
the interview? She could barely.
She couldn't speak.
She was literally, that was like one of those where, and it was just, he was on the phone.
Right.
And we were ripping his ass because he was late. Remember
Yeah.
something? He was supposed to call, was late. But you think about that, and you don't realize sometimes.
Well,
like when people meet or talk to somebody for the first time.
Yeah, and you try not to. Have you ever fanboyed out on anybody where you're just like, I don't know what to say to you? Has that ever been a thing?
No, but I'm saving this.
Okay.
Because you talked about embarrassing.
All right.
I've got a Pete Rose one back from when I was a young journalist. That's an unbelievable story. I won't tell it now. It's too long.
Oh, that works
But
out
it's a
perfectly.
good one.
That's a great way to
It's a
wrap
gem.
things up, I do think, because we will talk about embarrassment probably multiple times.
Oh, my God.
Moving forward.
That might be the rest of August. Now, we should
be.
duly note, next Monday, you're quarantining.
Yes.
Give a little background there, but I have a thought.
Okay, Minnie Finn is heading off to college. Her check-in day at her university is the 16th.
Which is the following Sunday.
The following
2 Sundays
Sunday,
from now.
yeah. So they are required to self-isolate 7 days before they get on campus and then 7 days within their setup, in their pod of students. before they can go to a live class. So that means everybody around her has to do that. So there's no chance of bringing something onto the campus. So
Which I guess from a university standpoint is a smart thing.
They have to do all that. Now,
Till they all
again,
get there.
I'm going back to my original hypothesis, which is within 30 days, every single college campus, it's going to be running rampant through all of it.
Correct.
All the fraternities and sororities will be blamed, probably rightfully so. But I'm just telling you, it's going to happen, and it probably needs to happen. I mean, within that demographic, that's probably what needs to happen. But we can do all this stuff up front. It's all CYA on the part of the university. They have to do this. I would love to see it not do what I think it's going to do, but I am doing my part. So next week we will not be here, but it's a big but. I like big butts.
The missus
I
may
cannot lie.
join me.
Really?
It may be the reality check with the gambles.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah.
I'd watch that.
Yeah.
I won't even watch this.
It would be well, you'll have the opportunity to.
I will.
Right?
I will moderate and watch the comments.
You can
watch how much less nice the comments are than they are right now.
you.
Yeah. Speaking of which, Big John is watching.
Oh, hello,
so
Big
John,
John.
your mission, if you choose to accept it, is an autographed Jimmy Page guitar for him.
Get on that.
And a Bob Ross painting for me, because you got connections, man.
He needs to be a special guest.
You know everybody. Big John. Oh, he will be.
Yeah. He
Yeah.
needs
So,
to
well, why don't we'll work on that? That's where we're going to start. We're going to start calling people out live on the show and daring them to be on.
Hey, little did you know, but you need to be a special guest. And if you don't, we will just ridicule you.
That's true. That is true. All right. Well,
Yes.
I think that's going to wrap
That's
it up.
it.
It's been a good one. I think it has stopped raining just in time for us
Of course
to.
it has.
Because it rained only during the time of the show. Outstanding. Hopefully the Reds will be playing here soon enough. You'll have a little something to check out there. But thanks for checking this out. Like, share, subscribe to the YouTube channel, Gamble, Capital, and Finn. We have our own.
Oh, customize URL.
There you go.
My bad. I was
There
a
you
little delay. That was delay.
There was a
And
delay.
If you've got somebody you'd like us to try to wrangle as a special guest,
Yeah.
let us know who that may be, because that's what we're doing right now.
Yep. We'll find out just how much yank we have.
Not a lot.
Or don't. Jay, thanks so much. Keith, Shiloh, appreciate you. Oh, man, so many others. Big John, Jim, Jeff, handful of others. Lisa, as always, running the rules of the drinking game. Michelle, it's just been a cavalcade of coolness of all of you checking us out, and we appreciate it. Normally, we'd say join us Thursday nights at 700 WLW, but the Reds will be playing, and until they're not, we'll just be doing this, and we'll keep you posted if we're going to double up. Next week, it could be Gamble and Gamble, Gamble Squared, right here at House
And
Gamble.
also remember, we're going to be heading out on the road shortly, too, where you can actually come and join us, too.
Come and be a part of
Yes.
it from a safe distance,
Correct.
whether there's any of the C word or not. We would appreciate that.
Yes,
All right.
we would.
I don't even know how to sign these shows off. Normally we say,
How about this? We're
you're
done.
Gonna ride the wave with Dave on 700 WLW, but
The wave.
the wave. All right. How about this? Coming up next is whatever the hell you want, because we're done. We'll see you next time.
Bye.